You know, one of the funny things about being a photographer is that I actually really struggle with the idea that every single photo has its own unique story. I mean, yeah, there's the cliche of every picture is worth 1,000 words, but I look at like all of these photos and I see all of them, and it's just a fraction of the work that I've done. So it's really hard for me to remember that for every single one of these photos, or even someone else's work, that it represents a specific moment in time or a specific feeling that that person might be going through. And something I really want to do with my work is really try and bring out the story. That's why I started making videos and why I use so much of my own work in them. Now, I'm not going to talk about any of the photos in here right now, but I want to talk about this one. This is one of the very first photos I took when I was really getting started with photography. And while I do believe I've gotten better since I've taken it, I wouldn't be here without it. So I thought it was only fitting to talk about it. But to talk about this photo, I can't just talk about what's in it and what it looks like. I have to take you back to spring 2019. Spring 2019 was such a weird time for me. I started a new job that I thought would be my career for maybe a couple of years and wound up quitting the first month I was there. And not only was I dealing with that, but I actually given up on photography for months at this point. I only had my phone to take photos and I was just really disappointed with the results, so I said I'm not going to do photos until I have a real camera. So at the time, I wasn't really sure what my path would look like, both in terms of just my career and just about what I was going to do with photography, if I was going to do anything at all. And I was just wrestling with all these different feelings and emotions and just really trying to figure out what am I going to do with my life. And then one of my last paychecks comes through and I noticed that I have enough to get a camera. So with my last paycheck from my job, I decided to buy a camera. Specifically, I bought a Nikon D3500. I would show you the camera I bought, but I don't have it. I actually sold it to a friend a couple of years ago. But I remember buying it, and it was one of the most exciting feelings for me because I felt like I was taking steps to, becoming a real photographer. But I was definitely still hesitant and had a lot of anxiety about how things would work out, and if I just made the dumbest purchase of my life by spending my last paycheck on something that I might not even be good at. But I decided to put all that anxiety aside and really just try and actually take some photos. And one of the first things I wanted to do was to go to downtown Detroit to take some photos of the sunrise. Now, I already did a sunrise shoot before this, so I wasn't completely out of my element, but I was definitely doing something that I hadn't really done before. Yes, I'd taken photos downtown with my phone, but all those times I went with friends. And I never ever did a sunrise shoot in the city. And of course, I never did it with the DSLR. So that was the first too. And so there was definitely some things where I was nervous about how my photos would turn out. And my parents were worried that I was just going to be an idiot and make myself a target. Me going downtown with the camera, basically probably by myself, and just worried that I was going to do something stupid. And, if you're a photographer or just, general street smarts, don't make yourself a target and be careful wherever you go. But I was still remembering just like I had to do this because it was one of the things that I felt like was a true test of my capabilities and even just my perseverance. Because I knew I at least had to try. Even if I failed, I wanted to say that I went out there and I did something that I hadn't done before. So despite my nerves, and despite waking up early on a weekend, I decide I'm going to go downtown and take this photo. So I threw my camera in my car and my little tripod that I had, and I decide to drive downtown. And I go down there and I park in this parking garage near Greektown, and it's not really a usual spot that I go. Because even though I knew I wanted to go downtown, I actually didn't even have like a particular building I wanted to focus on, like not even this one here. So the first photo I take actually isn't this one. It's a different one that I took in the parking garage just as I pull up. It's actually this one that I took right as I got out of my car in the parking garage, and this was the first thing that I saw. And as I just kept going about it throughout the day, and I just kept walking around that parking garage, just taking different photos, and then I was able to get this one as well. And I remember getting both of these photos and just feeling so relieved and feeling so excited that here I was doing something that I said I would do, and I felt like I was good at it. And I like how they turned out, but I was definitely still, on edge and about, did I belong here? Did I really need to do this? And was I really good at this? To be honest, I was just shocked that I even got photos like this because I didn't think I was that good. But I was like, you know what? I'm here. I might as well just keep going and just keep trying different stuff. And so I was focusing on the Greektown area, as you could tell from this photo here, but I decided to go to a different area. So I hopped in my car, tried out a different parking garage, and I went all the way to the very top floor. And I was just like, you know what? Maybe this will be worth it. Maybe this will lead to something special. And of course, that's what led to this photo. This isn't what it looked like when I first took it, of course, because I edit all of my photos. I have the original, but actually I want you to guess. Is it darker or lighter than the final version? So here's the original version, just fully dark, and this is what it looked like when I saw it through my camera. But even there, you can see a lot of things that really made this photo special to me. We have the sunlight coming through and it's just lighting up the entire scene. But we also have a lot of clouds, which really help add some depth and contrast and made like the building stand out a bit more, like you can see right here, how it stands out from the background. And then of course, you have elements of the Greektown neighborhood, which anyone who spent any time in Detroit around Greektown will be familiar with these areas. We have Greektown Casino, part of it right here on the left. And we also have the church, which is Old St. Mary's, kind of in the center, just really drawing in the attention. This church is actually featured in the game Detroit Become Human, although there's not really a plaza in Greektown like there is in the game. Taking this photo was just a really special moment, and it really confirmed to me that doing photography was something that felt right for me. Even if it was just for this day, and it didn't turn into something I did for years. This photo and the ones before it were just important for getting me going. And so throughout that day, I just kept going. The reason I bring this up isn't just to show you my old work or to show you some of my earlier photos, but to actually talk to you and just remind you that, sometimes it is risky to go for what you want, but it's also very rewarding. It's not even always about the outcome itself, but about what you let it do in your life. Which, I could say I could have stopped here. I could have said, this is good enough, and I don't need to keep making photos. The way I kept going in terms of taking photos and then turning that into video and evolving my skills in both is something that just felt right, but it was also something that was a challenge. And not only financially or just, the risk of that, but just from the emotional standpoint of, am I really supposed to do this? It's crazy that sometimes you can do something that really fulfills you and find a lot of meaning in, but it doesn't always feel right. And that's not to say that you're doing the wrong thing, but sometimes it's just the nerves and anxiety. I'm not always saying to, be reckless, but to really keep trying, because you really never know where it's gonna go. And I remember this day, and I remember all of these photos for being the thing that really got me started. Without all of these photos, just from one day, none of the photos here would be here. So thanks for listening to my little story. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a bit different than what I do, and obviously doing something with physical is a bit different than what I do. So I just want to say thank you for watching this video, and I just hope that you're doing good out there and that you find what you want to do with your life. Please let me know if you like this video and the style of content, because I want to keep making videos like this, but I also want to make sure that it's something that you want and it's not just for me. Thank you so much for listening to my story, and thank you for watching, and as always, I hope you have a good day.